What's up, weebs? Welcome back to Anime Lane. As always, I'm your host from Notorious. Joining me once again today is just Shaun.
Just me, because we
Just
would
me.
never be able to get Melina on an episode like this.
We are a little previously on Anime Lane. For two different episodes, actually.
Yeah.
Back in, was it February, the episodes came out. We did a big, 2-hour long episode where we talked about the first 3 Silent Hill games. And then, months before that, we also briefly talked about a weird conspiracy theory about Silent Hill 4.
It was just the rantings of a madman.
Just the rantings of a madman about Silent Hill 4 The Room. And we're here to talk about that game.
Manuel.
Silent Hill the 4. Silent Hill the 4? Silent Hill 4 The Room.
Silent Hill Room the 4.
Room the 4. This is the last...
So this is an official sequel episode to our Silent Hill episode, and is a stealth sequel to that random
the internet.
hodgepodge of weird internet stuff.
Yeah.
That, again, thanks back for that, Manuel. We'll see you in court.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the last game developed by Team Silent.
This is the one that gets a full episode to itself.
Yeah.
Why, under all the circumstances, is this the one that gets a full episode to itself, Michael?
Because, well, I don't think we want to play any of the other ones at this point. And holy fuck, it's bad.
So for context, and to give an idea, because I don't want to give away our full thoughts off the bat, although you kind of did right there.
Yeah.
So going into this, we knew that only the first 4 Silent Hill games were the ones that were developed by Team Silent, which was the branch of Konami, mainly Japanese based, that did, Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3, the games we played before this. Usually pretty highly acclaimed games, very fun. You have some contentious opinions about 3.
Still haven't come around.
I do not have. You'll just have to stay being wrong then.
Yeah, maybe I'll come around on it at some point, but I doubt it.
I mean, compared to this.
Compared to this.
But neither of us wanted to jump right into 4 because we both knew that it was a little different.
Yeah, plus when you played the first 3 back to back, that's an intense experience.
Yeah.
Not only are these games thematically pretty heavy, 2 in and of itself is an absolute fucking juggernaut of an experience that kind of, even if 1 and 3 aren't as thematically intense, it certainly takes its toll. So you kind of don't want to jump into the 4th one right away, because 3 sort of feels its own sort of conclusiveness to it.
It makes sense just also from the fact that 3 is a direct sequel to 1, and the way 1 ends is very much open-ended, that you're kind of itching to see where that goes.
Yeah.
If you got the good ending, because the bad ending that is maybe technically followed up with Shattered Memories, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
The good, let's say, canon ending of 1, is very much makes you going, so what happens next? We can't just stop there.
Yeah.
But then it's Silent Hill 3 that's the direct sequel, so you're okay, maybe I want to see what 2 is, though, just to sort of get the logical leap. And 2 is its whole experience that, if you want more details on, please listen to our previous episode.
An actual masterpiece of a video game.
Oh, it's perfect. And they did it again with the remake.
They did it again with the remake.
So yeah, in light of those 3, neither of us really wanted to jump into 4 right after. We felt like we needed a bit of a break.
Yeah.
To recompose ourselves, and that break has now passed. We have decided to jump in, and
yeah. I guess also some context around this is the fact that we've literally just been killing time for Silent Hill 40 to come out, or Silent Hill F, I should say, for most people.
Yeah, I call it F in my head. It took me a second. I thought you said 40.
No,
I was there's not that many games.
It's the the F in Silent Hill, F is the musical notation for forte, as in to like play something loud. What is it? Piano or it's Italian word, pianismo or something like that. It means to play softly. Forte is the opposite. It's that musical notation. The only reason I decided to specify is because I saw a TikTok or an Instagram reel or something where someone called it Silent Hill sharp, and I immediately recoiled in horror because I'm like, no, not even remotely close.
That definitely stuck in your head.
It did.
So now you feel the need to correct it.
It's literally been rattling around in my head since I seen it, and I'm like, there is no... It doesn't even look remotely close, because a sharp is just a hashtag in musical notation, essentially.
Yeah.
You can't mix them up. You just can't.
This is good. Let it all out.
But yeah, we're killing time until that game comes out. For me, tomorrow, as we're recording this.
At the time of recording, the official release date official release date for Silent Hill F is in 3 days.
Yes, I bought the digital deluxe edition that gets me 2 days early access, so I only have 4 hours until it unlocks.
I have to wait until the end of this week because I got it physically on PS5.
So yeah,
I'm very much looking forward to it.
We thought, what better time to play 4 than while we're waiting for Silent Hill F to come out, because we can't play anything too long. God, I regret this.
Did we make a good decision? Boy, howdy. I don't think we did.
No. God.
Because to finally give our full opinions on this, as you can already probably guess, we didn't like this game.
No, here's the thing is, like, you kind of started out being like, it's fine, I don't dislike it. Well, I was already in the stages of absolutely fucking hating it. And I wasn't that far ahead of you at the time.
No, so like... Okay, so sort of go from beginning to end.
Yeah.
If we want to find a way to structure this discussion, because that's a big struggle for us sometimes.
Yeah.
What I liked about the game, to sort of go off that, is that I'm not against it being different.
No.
We've had 3 games that, on a structural and gameplay mechanic like level, have been largely similar. And you've got like a specific character who ends up going to the town for one reason or another, and spooky, maybe psychological shit happens like over the course of that, usually related to the central character in some way or another. And it's basically just their journey going through that, and maybe at the end you'll, depending on the ending you get, I guess, on some games, you feel satisfied on some level. This one doesn't do that.
No.
And it's fine. That's fine to do. You're allowed to break from the mold after 3 games. And the game has good ideas.
Yes.
I do like the concepts that this game plays with, of, you know, the sense of isolation you feel in the room. The jumping into different worlds that eventually you come to realize as part of the main antagonist that's formed these worlds, and like it's based on like his ideas and his whole fucked up things. All of that by themselves is fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
The problem is playing it fucking sucks.
Yeah. The ideas are really good and really interesting at times. It's the execution that really lets it all down, and also like structurally too, because you start the game and you're in for the first time in a Silent Hill game in the first person perspective, and immediately, you know, you're combating the controls because you need to go into the settings and change it so that you're not like turning while you're trying to look around, because the default is if you move and you turn left or right, you turn. We should also give some more context. So you played the GOG version as well. Yes, I did.
So you played it on PC.
Yeah.
While I do own the game on GOG, and I do own the game, I decided that to get the most authentic experiences, because I basically did this for the other games as well, I
Yeah.
decided to play the original console versions emulated.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly for the last 3 games because they weren't released on any modern sort of
Yeah.
system or hardware, and I kind of had to. Please
Yeah.
fix that, Konami. That would be so great. But I decided for my own mental consistency state that I would try and do that on. I would try and emulate the PS2 version instead.
Mm-hmm.
And also because, you know, the PC version has its own quirks that they have mainly fixed.
Yeah.
But there's still some quirks in there, as you've learned.
Yes. Well, they only happened while I was playing it. That's the thing. I mean, one thing is, like, even with the new version of the PC version, or the updated version of the PC version, it's still the same thing. They've just fixed it, quote unquote.
The God-preserved version.
Yeah, there are new resolution options, so you can play this in 1920 by 1080. Or in 4K, if you were that fucking sadistic to yourself.
If you are Walter Sullivan.
But there's no accommodation for the fact that the game, as much as setting it to 16 by 9 does work and does display correctly, it very much feels like a presentation meant for 4 by 3, because that was the intent when they were designing it.
Yeah, like, this is a game from 2004. Originally a PS2 title. It's gonna, on a fundamental level, look and you kind of just feel it wants to be presented a certain way.
Yeah, so, like, there is no accommodation for that within the settings. You said it's a 1920 by 1080. You're playing it in 16 by 9. There is no 1440 by 1080 that would accommodate the fact that the game was originally a 4 by 3 experience, which means to play it in 4 by 3 you have to set it to like some fuck-ass 1024 resolution, and I forget which one specifically it is, so I'm not even good because it's just a string of weird numbers. So that's point one. You spend a little bit of time trying to figure out if you can make it run in 4 by 3 at a HD resolution, and you realize you can't. And then you have the quirk of the controls, which is, I guess, in the PS2 version as well, where like it turns you, instead of like strafing, it calls it sidestepping in the settings. We obviously call it strafing nowadays. You got to change that. And then now the Windows update randomly fucked up all of the FMVs, so they play in the wrong chroma settings and at like double speed, so you end up having to just Google them later.
And that sucks, by the way, because like some of like the FMVs in like 4, which I want to say first off, I was surprised there were FMVs to begin with, because Silent Hill 3 made the jump of all the cutscenes being in engine. And I'm noting that because overall 3 and 4 for PS2 era games look really good.
Yeah, like even set at like 1024, like it still looks really good, like graphically. And most of the cutscenes are in engine or in game. There's like maybe 1 FMV per level, maybe 2 as you get closer to the end. And then the endings specifically are FMVs. But
I do like the specific kind of FMVs that play heavily in the second half as well. It's basically when one of the ghosts come in. Like, I don't think Cynthia had it, but like when you get to the second forest world and like the second like water prison and stuff, you get these like grainy, sort of jumpy, sort of really like blurry almost sort of FMVs, which I really like in terms of style. That is great. It's almost what it reminded me of like an old sort of grainy camcorder style footage that you'd maybe see on like the creepy side of YouTube circa late 2000s.
Yeah.
Loved that. Probably the best parts of that section of the game.
So yeah, you can divide the game into 2 parts. It's almost Halo-esque, but more fuck-ass.
Yeah. Halo-esque, if it had ideas it really couldn't execute well.
Yeah. More so, I mean, in Halo, you play through the first half of the game going one way, And then the other half of the game, you go backwards. You retrace most of your steps. And in Silent Hill 4, you get halfway through the game and you pick up and can't say it like that. That's gonna sound weird. You have to escort a character.
You were gonna say pick up a girl.
I was gonna say you have to pick up an escort. Which is
that's
so much worse.
And I want to say that first half of the game is still kind of clunky.
It's clunky, but I think overall it's fine. It comes in the structural and design choice of like going back to the room all the time, and like the fact that they are now, rather than traversable connected dungeons like the first 3 games, everything is like a distinct level now.
Yeah, like it's not like the structure of the last 3 games was that like each sort of dungeon, for lack of a better term, was like a puzzle box.
Yeah,
like, you know, your typical survival horror. You know, this location has puzzles. You're supposed to like sort of maze your way through it, solve puzzles, and fight enemies, and then eventually you'll get out of it and move on to the next part of the story.
And it was always point A to point B. It would always serve as like the apartments at the beginning of the game. You need to get through them to get to the other side so you can go to the pier to meet Maria. Whereas here it's like they're just independent like instances that don't connect to each other until the end of the game, and even that connection's fucking flimsy at best.
They feel a lot more linear compared to the previous games. Like we said, like even the previous games, even though they were point A to point B, they were still a lot of places you could explore. You could like get your bearings on. You could like search for this room. Maybe this room will have a puzzle that you have to find like the puzzle pieces for in the next room. Whereas specifically in the first half of 4, it's very much you need to go from here to here. Maybe solve a puzzle by going back to the room constantly and like putting an item there. And also, in the first half of the game, there are barely any healing items.
Yeah.
That you're really picking up because the game expects you to heal by going back to the room.
Which does set up a strange thing for the second half of the game where the healing stops working for the rest of the game, and yet the game hasn't really set up what you're meant to do at that point in terms of healing. Because I was like, well, for a long time, I knew this was coming, but I was like, okay, well, I'm not finding any healing items, so how the fuck do you heal in the second half of the game? And it's like kind of late in the first half where you find like your first nutrition drink or something like that, and I'm like, there is healing items. I hope they're not this fucking rare. They're not in the second half, but that's besides the point. It's not a good setup.
The thing is, like, arguably you could say that that's you feeling underprepared when you get to that part. I think is like part of the fear, because like with survival horror games, there are 2 ways it tries to scare you. It's either in a narrative sense or in a gameplay mechanic sense. In Resident Evil, the gameplay mechanic sense would be like limited saves, or the tank controls, or the fixed camera angles. Here, though, it doesn't feel natural. It feels like it's just an annoyance.
Yeah,
like it stops being scary. It just kind of sucks.
It's such a weird choice because it doesn't make you feel underprepared, because by the time you get to the second half of the game and you can't heal in the apartment and you're escorting Eileen around all the time, you have all of the weapons in the game, bar one. I think there's one you get like near the end of the game, but anyway, you have pretty much every weapon available in the game, which means you have the 2. If you've went out of your way for one of them, you have 2 of the best weapons in the game. You have the stun gun and you have the axe, which makes the second half of the game piss easy to do, because nothing is that hard. You can either run around it, the ghosts are just fucking annoying instead of actually an impedance.
Yeah.
or you can take it out with the axe, or you can zap it with a stun gun really easily.
Yeah. Oh, the ghosts. Just now that you've mentioned the ghosts, they were creepy at the start.
Yeah.
And I liked that the series was finally going into like full on ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know about you, but for me, before I started playing this series, I expected ghosts to be more of a thing just throughout the series.
Yeah.
Like, I always thought that, oh, Resident Evil is the zombie series, where Silent Hill is the paranormal series. Yeah. And that's not quite true until this game.
Yeah.
Like, really, but... And while the ghosts themselves are creepy, because you can't really damage them. Well, you can damage them, but you can't really, like, get rid of them.
No. There are 5 items spread throughout the whole game that can take them down. They're called Swords of Obedience. And there's like fucking 100 ghosts spread throughout the levels. So like, okay, I can't really do anything about them. You're meant to reserve the Swords of Obedience for the stronger ghosts that show up in the second half. I don't understand the design of the ghosts, because they aren't actually tangibly scary. And especially not when they show up, like, unceremoniously. When you literally just do a screen transition, you're like, what's that sound? Oh,
yeah, like,
what's this?
When I knew that, like, this was the game that had ghosts in it, I expected them to be, like, a sort of built-up sort of thing, especially in the context of the hauntings that happen in the second half of the game. But, like, the ghosts show up, like, 5 minutes into the first world. It's done very unceremoniously, and when they're actually there, they sort of float up to you.
Yeah.
Cause a droning noise to happen, and then just like occasionally sap your health, and that's it.
Yep. Yeah.
And especially in the first half of the game, they lose their creepy factor like almost immediately. But like by the end of the first like world, which is the subway world, their creepiness had worn off on me, and I was like, well, now you're just sort of an annoyance to me now. Piss off.
Yeah, they just spend most of the game just like, you're trying to go somewhere, and one of them's just floating in front of you, and you're like, can you just get the fuck out of my way? I need to go past you.
Like, they're getting all up in your face, and I can just imagine, like, Henry just being like, his hands up, like, can you just not, please? Yeah. I'm my personal space, please.
Yeah. So, yeah, so the general setup of the game is you wake up in your apartment, you can't leave, it's been chained from the inside, and you have no way out, your neighbours can't hear you, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. You find a hole in your bathroom, and you're like, sure, no other way out, let's just crawl into it.
There's a hole in the middle of the wall. There's a hole in the middle of the wall.
And through this, you end up in different worlds, as they're called on the save file. And these worlds contain one of your neighbors, and when you reach the end of one of these worlds, the neighbor dies. And don't
feel too sad about them. You barely get any characterization.
You literally don't know anything about them. They mean nothing to you.
It's really funny when, like, the first one dies, who's Cynthia, and she feels like she's going to be a character until the point where she just dies, and the game plays this, like, very sad sort of, like, music piece, and you're just sort of like, I barely really know who you are.
Yeah.
And then for every victim after that doesn't happen.
No,
they just sort of die, and that's it. And it's like, it's almost like Henry just got desensitized to it very quickly.
Yeah. The first 4 carry these plaque things that, don't worry about, they'll become important later.
Just put them in your chest and you're fine.
Yeah.
Like the chest in your apartment, which every apartment has.
Every apartment has that. Well, it's this is like what are they called? An ottoman.
Yeah.
It's literally like in my grandparents' house where we normally record these, the little black leather thing that sits like under some of the like towels and stuff that are in the living room right now. That's an ottoman. It's a storage container.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, my dad actually has one.
Yeah. So like that. It's weird. It's only weird because you are wrested all control to look at it. And he's like, I could put things in here. And I'm like, yeah, that's what a fucking ottoman is for, man.
It's like Henry just realized that was in his apartment and was like, huh, neat.
Yeah. You then, like, I'm trying to remember, like, so the last, it's literally not until the second half of the game that Walter's really brought up, right? Like, he's barely mentioned in the first half.
The closest, I mean, you sort of come across the child version of him, like...
Oh yeah, in the apartments, yeah.
Very vaguely into, like, some of the first half of the world, and I know specifically in the water prison, like, world,
Oh yeah,
the victim of that
mentions
says
Walter.
that, yeah, he's like, Walter's gonna kill me and stuff, and if you've played Silent Hill 2,
yes,
the name might sound familiar to you because Walter was mentioned in some notes of Silent Hill 2, and you basically get the gist of, oh, he was a serial killer, he ended up killing, like, at least 2 kids.
Yeah.
And
On
then he
what
died at some
street
point.
did Walter Sullivan kill Billy and Mandy? That's not their names.
I think one of them is Billy, but the other one is Mariam, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's right. I just remember the.
So you know, so Silent Hill 2 like brings some attention to him. So when like you hear the name Walter and Walter Sullivan in this game, you're like, oh, cool, we're gonna see what that's all about.
Yeah, that kind of works if you haven't taken like 9 or 10 months off.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, who's this fucking Walter guy? I'm like, I think he has something to do with Silent Hill 2. That's weird. Anyway, I think it's the first half of the game doesn't have a story happening at all.
No, the main plot of like the first half is just trying to figure out what's going on, which the way it's like actually executed doesn't feel too gripping because you're just sort of from your perspective going to these random worlds that have nothing to do with each other, and you're just like, oh, this is weird.
And I think it's worth stressing that these worlds are short. At least the first 5 probably are like super short. I clocked in like 3 hours of playtime just getting up to the hospital and getting down to the part where you're like, you have to go down the stairs to start the second half of the game.
Yeah.
Because like each world's like 20 minutes or something.
Around about like half an hour to an hour at the very most.
Yeah. Like the first like
if
4
you're really lost and you don't know what you're doing, it'll take like an hour.
Yeah. Like the first 4 worlds where you get the plaques are so over and done with very quickly, to the point that it's like it's very hard to feel the compulsion to keep going because nothing story wise is really happening at that point. You're literally just like, okay, I'm now in this place, let me find something. You stumble upon a person and you either have to help them, save them, or free them, and then they die and you go back to the apartment and it's like, okay, I really don't know what's happening yet. And it's not that you feel like you're trying to figure out what's going on, because unlike the other games, there's a sparse amount of notes to work off of. There is no world building done, and
there's no hook for
there is
any
no hook.
First half.
No. And then even the second half, I think more so the second half suffers because by this point, you're just fucking fed up.
Yeah.
You know, you walk down those stairs with Eileen thinking, okay, I'm now into the second half, let's find out what's going on, and you fucking walk through that door and find yourself back in the fucking subway and you just wanna kill yourself.
And you realize that this is going to be the next half of the game.
Yup.
Here's the thing, not only is it thrown off that of you, but it's also thrown in at the same time the room is no longer safe.
Yes.
And like the room was the only part of the game that felt stable to me. And again, you can argue that's like a part of like the horror of the game. What was once your safe room is now not safe. And that's a cool idea. The problem is, it comes up at the point where you're so sick of the shit the game has thrown at you. You're just at that like your point, and you just want to go, oh fuck off.
Yeah. Because not only does the apartment not heal you anymore, you have hauntings to deal with, which means you need to not only find health items to heal, while you're traversing the second half of the game, you need to find holy candles. And yes, there's plenty of them. But my god, the fact you no longer have an unlimited inventory is so fucking frustrating in this game.
That is such a painful thing as well, because every game before this did not have that.
No.
You had an unlimited inventory. Why suddenly bring it back? If you've played the previous games, it feels like such a downgrade.
Yep. It doesn't even like tangibly add to the experience, and other than to make you traipse back to the apartment a bunch of times, which you could say is part of the design choice for the fact the apartment becomes unsafe, except you don't really need to do it in the second half of the game. You only have to do it a bunch of times in maybe 3 of the last initial worlds, because there's so many items to find that you have to walk back and put stuff in your chest and then go back to collect more. But the second half of the game, it's like you've got all the items that you need already, and there's maybe like 2 in the world that you're currently playing that you need to get, and you have 12 inventory slots. So it's like, okay, well, if I'm carrying like 2 health items, a weapon, maybe a backup weapon on the offhand that I want something else, you've got plenty of space to work with in the second half of the game.
Yeah, and it's especially more noticeable if you're using a guide, because admittedly, yeah, I used a guide, especially for the second half of the game, because one, I wanted the game done, and 2, I feel like if I didn't have that guide, I would have been so frustrated with the game, I would have just not finished it. Because to talk about like the journey of just having to play the game like on a more like player focused level, especially by the time I got to the second half of the game, I was so fucking close to dropping it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna admit right now, the only reason I finished the game at all was, one, because I was playing it on an emulator. I had save states, and I save scummed the fuck out of the second half just mainly to ensure that Eileen stays in a stable state, because the thing about this game is that in order to get the only good ending in the game out of 4 endings, by the way, you have to, 1, clear every haunting you encounter in the room, which means scouring as many holy candles as possible just for safety.
Yep.
And 2, keeping Eileen your... I'm just gonna say escort. I don't care how it sounds. The escort throughout the whole second half of the game, like, safe, because the whole thing with her is that if she takes, basically for the final boss, depending on how much damage or how unsafe her condition is,
possessed.
She's gonna,
I think how it's referred to.
She's gonna become more possessed depending on if she takes any damage, if you leave her alone for too long, if you fucking look at her slightly the wrong way.
Yeah.
There's so many little things that can affect her, like, choices that can affect like her status, and it made me paranoid, but not in the scared sense, just in the annoyed sense of, okay, I have to look out every single like point of view.
Yeah.
So yeah, I save scummed, I used a guide, and even while trying to keep her as safe as possible, I did not feel confident that I didn't feel super confident I would still be able to get the best ending until I actually saw it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
That I had gotten it.
So, playing the PC version, I didn't have that luxury. I had to just... Well, I used a guide, sure. I didn't have I didn't have save states. I just had to purely run it as is. And my main commentary is that they clearly realized what escorting Eileen meant to the second half of the game, because Silent Hill is a game series of logic puzzles. Yes, there is enough information presented to you as the player to feasibly solve those puzzles, but you still need to have a functioning brain to be able to go, okay, I understand what this puzzle is wanting me to do.
You need to have a reasonable amount of intelligence.
Yeah. The second half of this game has the most fucking brain-dead collection quests I've ever fucking encountered. The fucking forest world has you finding just fucking body parts to put on a mannequin. That's not engaging gameplay.
No, and that mannequin doesn't serve, as far as I'm aware, any function to the actual narrative.
No, it doesn't.
Because like, and again, bear with us, listeners. We're recording this. For me, I've literally only beaten the game just a few hours ago.
Yeah, it's
So
been
that's
about a week for me ish now.
Yeah. But like, the main point is we've not had much time to like fully focus in on like maybe any deeper elements there. And so if there are things that are like going over our head or that we're not, we don't seem to understand, that's why please forgive us. That's a genuine criticism of us if you want to be annoyed about it in the comments. But the thing is, it leads back to the point of it feels like the sort of deep, subtle narrative like points of the game that of the stories that felt so intrinsic to the last few games just don't seem to be here.
Yeah.
For this game, because one, who the fuck is Henry?
Yeah,
He's our main character.
exactly.
He's our protagonist. He's the guys we're playing. Who the fuck is he? To me, he has no character.
No, he doesn't. Like, why are we playing him? What importance does he have to this other than living in 302? What's his character outside of the fact that he is the character we are playing? I called him Harry for a good chunk of this game because I was like, oh yeah, his name's just Harry. They ran out of ideas.
I'm still I'm actively fighting not to call him Harry, but here's the thing. That's an insult to Harry Mason. Because
exactly.
Harry Mason, despite being the fucking stock Stephen King protagonist that he is, he still has a character and an importance to the story, even just for the fact that like the actual important person of Silent Hill 1 is his daughter.
Yeah.
Like, he still has a character that Henry just doesn't. He is just the guy experiencing the stuff and going, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, and occasionally, oh no.
What's going on here? Like, yeah, thanks for the help for observation, Henry.
That whole, like, second last, like, major cutscene of the game where you've just got... I don't know if it's supposed to be, like, Frank Sunderland or whatever that's in the roof talking to, like, him and Eileen. I'm not sure, but, like, he's just going on and on about, like, this... He's basically lore dumping, like, to both Henry and Eileen, and Henry is giving nothing in this entire scene. Like, Eileen is at least, like... has enough importance to the plot, and you get like, and she seems like she's reacting to this. Henry's just sort of stoically staring like the Mike Wazowski meme. And he's the main character. He is who we are playing as.
Yeah.
He's who we're spending the entire game with, the second, like, with only Eileen as a second, but Eileen has an actual character and purpose in the actual plot.
Oh.
But like, who is Walter Sullivan? Like, we get his story throughout the whole thing, but like, when it really comes down to it, his story is he had a shit childhood and he's got cult powers.
Yeah.
Which is basically what Claudia had in like the third game, but at least Claudia had a connection to Heather.
Yeah. And like the general like, or the driving force behind what he's doing is like so thin. Like, yeah, as a kid he thought the apartment was his mum, but he's a full-grown adult now. Man should know better.
And also, he's fucking dead.
He's also
like,
dead.
already.
Yes. Yeah. This is like the spirit version of him creating another world, but
yeah, it's more like the fractured version of the actual Walter Sullivan, who we never actually meet in the game.
Yeah.
We just meet his crazy spirit version and his broken off like childhood self, neither of which really feels like we get to know enough, even though the second half of the game is all about them.
Yeah. Oh, it's because like, even to go back to the first half of the game, it sets up some really interesting elements where you're stuck in this apartment and you can listen to the radio sometimes. You can look out your windows and see the other people living in this apartment complex. And then you also find a hole in your wall that lets you see through to your next door neighbor Eileen's apartment, and then also you can look out the peephole of your door that's chained up and see people in the hall and stuff. So it's like it has this initial element of like voyeurism.
Yeah.
Of like
especially on the Eileen stuff, because that's definitely supposed to invoke like a sort of almost Peeping Tom-esque sort of thing.
And then like the game doesn't do anything with that as an idea or as like a concept of what the whole game ties up to be or mean. Because once Eileen goes into the hospital, like functionally the people doesn't do anything at that point. There's no extra scenes to see. There's nothing to spy on except
the only thing you can see is like Robbie the rabbit pointing at you.
Yeah,
and, like, that's a creepy thing like the first time, but like there's nothing else after that.
Exactly.
Henry and like Eileen don't even have a real conversation with each other. Like
no.
Throughout the second half, like she's just following him, and like she says the occasional line, but that's mainly just to like give you an idea of how well or bad her condition is.
Yeah.
More than anything, like Henry really doesn't speak to her now that I really think about it, does he?
No, Henry has like so little dialogue and interaction with actual characters in the game. It's astounding. Because how do you have your main character, who isn't a silent protagonist, not really interact with anyone?
No, and we don't even get like the thing that like Heather or James had, where like if you interact with an object, they'll have some like flavor text to it. You kind of get that like at the initial like start of the game in the apartment when you're like, oh, this is the photo I took in Silent Hill. These are like pictures like someone had, but like nothing in the world really give you the resources to do that, or like give you any reason to like do or give you any of that at all, because you're too busy just trying to get out of them.
Yeah.
And again, despite the fact that you're with Eileen for the second half of the game, they don't actually interact. They don't say anything. You're basically just there to keep her safe, and that's literally it. Which also doubly sucks because her pathfinding is so shit.
Yup.
If she encounters any sort of wall, she stops dead in her tracks, maybe sidesteps a little bit, and then goes forward. And then if you're on like the circle stair thing, like going down between worlds, she has to start and stop like 20 times before you can get to the next door.
Yep. Because like, especially if you go too far ahead of her, she will ask you to like slow down or warn you that you're too far ahead. And if you're on the circle stairs, you're thinking, why the fuck does it matter? We are still in the same location, but you have to stop and wait for her to catch up.
Otherwise, her status is going to go down, and you're getting the bad ending if you do it too much, buddy.
Except, even then, it feels like they realized how fucked they made this whole thing, because if you're with her, if you're standing with her, if you're in a room and not really doing anything, and it's like safe, as in there's no enemies or anything, she gains resistance points to being left alone, to a certain amount of damage. It's a small tick up, but considering how many safe spaces there actually are in some of these worlds, you could build up a pretty high resistance for her, so that when you're in the water prison especially, you can spend a lot of time on your own and it not mean a lick of shit.
I didn't know that.
I only found it out when I was like close to the end of the game and reading some of the other parts of the Silent Hill Memories page about the game, and trying to like understand the mechanic of like, you can't leave her alone, except there's like 4 parts when you're escorting her you have to leave her alone for, and I'm like,
yeah, like I knew there were safe areas that like she wouldn't be as affected by being left alone, but I didn't know she actually got like full-on resistance points that built up over time.
Yeah, so I think it's different from like leaving her in a room full of enemies. I think that's still gonna tick up a bunch of possession.
That like dropped her like considerably from what I remember reading from like the Silent Hill Memories thing, which again means you really don't want to leave her alone really at any point unless you have to. But because her pathfinding and her like whole escort mechanic is so frustrating and not really executed well, it means there's a lot of times where you're screaming come on, Eileen,
Yeah.
just get over here.
The amount of times I've walked through a door thinking she was close enough to come through with me, and I've been like, oh, for fuck's sake, and she's just not there.
Again, I want to say, if you're gonna play this game, emulate it and use save states, because every time that happens, you can just be like, oh, for fuck's sake, and then reload a save state.
Well, it happened to me a bunch of times, and I don't think tangibly her possession level ever ticked up super high, because there's a visual representation of it that I think is to do with like her becoming more sort of like bloodied, or like her veins and stuff look darker.
I do know it's definitely related to like the numbers on her back, because like they're pretty faded. Like if she's good, but like if as far as I'm aware, the more possessed she becomes, the more like solid it becomes.
Yeah.
Along with the other obvious things of like either bloodied, or probably the biggest thing, which is like the way she like speaks.
Yeah, if she's talking like a child, you're irrevocably fucked. You can't do anything if she's at that point. You've got the bad ending. That's it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you do.
Even worse than, apparently it can get so bad that she starts almost becoming a ghost.
Oh my god.
Like at that point, you ain't getting the best ending at all. Like it's impossible.
It's also worth mentioning that there's nothing you can do for her possession level. Like if she starts getting possessed, if she gets to certain points, you can't undo it. You can't reverse it. There is no items you can give her that like set her back on an even keel.
Yeah. You can like you can place like a holy candle like next to her that like temporarily like helps her a bit, but that's the thing, it's temporary, which means for the ending, which is the main reason you want to keep her safe, it's not going to do shit.
Nope.
You're just permanently fucked. So you're spending the second half of the entire game struggling because you want to get like it perfect in a game that is absolutely against you on every step.
Yep. That's why
again, it's not even on a horror sense, that's just an annoyance.
I really think they conceptualized all of this, designed the hospital and subway, and then realized, oh, fuck. And then everything else after is so easy. Even if you don't really know what you're doing, like, even if we weren't following guides, considering how stupid it is, like, I don't think I would have had that much difference in playtime. I don't think I would have had that much difference in how simple and straightforward and easy the second half of the game can be. It can be annoying, yes. It's never actually like a genuine challenge, if that makes sense.
There are maybe some rooms that have like a bunch of enemies where it becomes a genuine challenge. The two that stand out to me are the end of the second water prison like visit, where they just throw 6 twin victim enemies in a tiny enclosed space.
Yeah.
And unless you want them to like all just charge on Eileen and fuck you for the best ending, you kind of have to strategize and like meticulously like goad like a couple of them towards you and then like attack them, go back, and that's just more annoying than actually like scary, which I think is the intention. And there's another one right near like the apartments, like right at the end, where they throw like 6 patient enemies at you. And I learned out through the save states that a lot of the combat, if you choose to fight, it's just a roll of the dice on if it's going to be good, if you're going to have a good like fight or not. Because sometimes the enemies just decide they're not going to have an opening at all, and you'll just get hit multiple times, or worse, Alien will get hit multiple times, and you're like, well, fuck.
Yeah. See, I went out of my way to get the stun gun, and what I will say is that patience and twin heads become so like a non-issue with it. Because that room, my heart sank at the end of the water prison second visit when I walked in and seen them. Because I'm like, oh god. Okay, let's try and like single file these fuckers in. And then like they all approached me at the one time and I was like, oh, I guess I'm just fucked. I don't even remember when my last save was at this point, because like it's not always conducive to go back to the
Yeah.
room, because one,
Yeah,
the
second half of the game,
hauntings.
you don't want to go back to the
No.
room because you're going to get a haunting, and hopefully you've got enough holy candles, because again, if you don't, you're fucked.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm standing there and I'm like, I see them all approaching me and I'm like, I can't separate them. I'm gonna have to try and fucking fight my way through this. And luckily, the game's that clunky that I stunned one of them, and the first three in the front row just all immediately dropped. And I was like, oh, cool, okay. The other three came charging up, and I just zapped them, and again, all three of them went down, and I'm like, wow, that was easy. I just stomped on the rest of them. And the patients are, like, strangely easy. Like, if you can avoid the weird, like, rapid attack that they do,
Yeah.
like, they'll drop, and you can stomp on them if you have the stun gun. Yeah. It's one of those weird things where, like, the axe and the stun gun are, like, incredibly overpowered.
Yeah. Here's the because well, I did the same as you, and I did get the stun gun, like, thanks to the guide. Again, thank you, Silent Hill Memories. I found it in the first half, it was a bit too slow, and because of the amount of enemies that are there, they're, like, usually one or two. I end up getting hit if I pot shots a bit too many times. I was like, okay, maybe I don't want to use this. But by the time I got to the axe, which is a faster attacking weapon unless you're charging it, it does, like, I'd say for the first half, feel more effective. But by the time I got into the second half, I didn't want to go back to the room to grab the stun gun at the points where I probably would have needed it to make it a better experience. So I had to deal with that through the trusty axe, and it's not as fun with the axe. The axe is a great weapon, but for those rooms specifically, it's not as fun.
Yeah.
Or great.
Yeah, it's such a strangely, like, built game overall. It
doesn't feel as, like, well put together.
No. It doesn't feel like a Silent Hill game either. There's some of the imagery, sure, and graphically, you know, stylistically, it is, you know, in line with 2 and 3. But it doesn't, like...
It has... I know it still has, God, how could I forget his name? Music director.
Oh, Akira Yamaoka.
Yeah, it still has his music work, although the game is mostly atmospheric.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that he is really good at atmospheric themes, none of them hit. I can't name you a single track in this game except for maybe the start of the game, or like the opening FMV, like,
oh yeah,
before you start the game, like maybe that one. But beyond that, I can't name you, like, a track in the game itself that stood out to me, which sucks. And it doesn't have, is it Masahiro Ito?
Oh, the director of or writer of the first?
No, he's the monster designer.
Oh, monster designer.
Yeah, and, you know, very active on Twitter, or was active on Twitter at some point, and gives nice headcanons, but, like, it doesn't have his monster designs, which you can really tell, because he has a very...
Yeah, this is
he
the
has
other...
a very specific style. Unlike how he does his monsters, they're very fleshy, they're very, like, symbolic as well. You can recognize them when you see them. This game doesn't have them, so a lot of the monsters feel completely removed from the rest of the series.
Yeah, it's that thing where the monsters in this game at some points feel like a tick box exercise of there are certain types of enemies we need to have in this game.
You gotta have a certain kind of dog enemy. You've gotta have a nurse. You've gotta have... It's mainly those two, actually.
Yeah, there's the, like, flying enemies, like, that kind of stand in for... Is it, like, the roaches or something like that in the second game?
Yeah, 2 had roaches, but they never really flew. They were sort of just on the ground.
Yeah.
Which, the sort of leech enemies, you can kind of, like, argue fill in that role here, but they're such a nothing part of the game, and some of them aren't actually enemies, they're just graphics on the wall. Which is weird.
So, not only that, none of them feel like they mean anything substantial. Like, pretty much most of the ones in 2 specifically, and 3, you can point to, like, there is some interpretation as to why this enemy is the way they are.
Absolutely. The monsters are an integral part, and the monsters and their design are an integral part of the game's narratives throughout 1 to 3, because the enemies in 2 are all from James's subconscious.
Yes.
So you've got like the sexualization of the nurses, which go into his sort of like thoughts as Mary was in hospital, and the sort of guilt he felt over like having those thoughts. There's the lying figures that go into that. There's the mannequins, which also, they all tie into that same theme. 3 had its own theme with Heather and, you know, the anxieties of being a teenage girl that's being forced to be impregnated with a god. So you've got enemies that are like not just body dysmorphia, but also like almost sperm-like enemies, and like they've all got like a deep connection to them. 4 has dogs that make panther sounds.
Yeah.
And nurses that are
big. It's got an Oni with a cloak and 2 heads, and a monkey with 2 heads.
What was the monkey?
I
What
don't know. They just fucking
You mentioned them to
appear.
me, like, when you got to them, and I was like, well, if the game is smart, maybe it's a commentary on, like, how... I don't know, because it's supposed to be from Richard Braintree's world, which, by the way, that's such a stupid fucking
Such
name.
a dumb name.
I'm so sorry for anyone that actually has the name Braintree, but what the fuck is that name? Like, if the game was smart, maybe it's a commentary on how this person views the other tenements as, like, these gross, almost monkey people, but we get nothing from Richard before he's dead and a mindless ghost for the rest of the game. And also, this is Walter's dream.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And
is
Walter
like
didn't really have much of a relationship with the other people in the apartments, so what's it supposed to mean? He likes monkeys. I don't know.
That's the thing, is like the second half of the game recontextualizes everything to, oh, these aren't like a representation of something from the victim's mind. These are all a representation of Walter. Sorry, we had to do it at some point.
Hell yeah.
Which makes it even more confusing, because what? None of them mean anything.
Sure, it's implied that Walter, like the other tenements of like the apartments, didn't like Walter when he was alive, when he came around eventually. But like, it still feels like there's no real connection on why they're weird monkey people.
Yeah.
Who make funny monkey noises.
That then also means that the ghosts are some representation of Walter's mind too.
No, I think the ghosts are just the straight up ghosts.
Ghosts are just ghosts. They're just there.
Yeah, they're just the ghosts. They're there. I don't know why Cynthia becomes a Ju-on-esque sort of long hair ghost. I'm not sure what the specific name is. I know there's probably a specific name for that kind of ghost in Japanese mythology.
Oh yeah, probably.
You know, the Ring-esque sort of long-haired Sadako style ghost. But like, I don't know why Cynthia got that other than Japanese mythology reference.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but like, what does this mean?
What does it mean?
Why is, other than the fact that he burned himself alive, why is Jason or whatever his name is the Human Torch as a ghost?
Yeah. Why does Richard just walk around and phase out of existence?
Why is he the only one that can use his feet?
Yeah, like,
why does he teleport?
Oh god.
I'd say something about the victim of the water prison, but you have to take him down, and if you're like me, you just used a silver bullet on him, stabbed him, and that's him.
That's exactly what I did. I was like, okay, there are 2 of these that you can feasibly get in the playthrough. I know exactly who I'm using them on. I'm fucking taking out was it Jasper in the forest world, because fuck his fire attacks. And obviously there's the mandatory one that you got to do in the water prison. Like, okay.
It's also funny that, like, because of how rare and limited, like, both the Silver Bullet and the Sword of Obedience are, you feel like, oh, I've got to, like, perfectly pick, like, who I want
Yeah.
to pick that, and this is going to be a super big part of the game. They're really not.
No.
Other than, like, the mandatory one
Mm-hmm.
with, like, in the water prison, and maybe Jason or Jasper, whatever his fucking name was.
Yeah.
Human Torch.
Yeah.
Like, who you really do want to get rid of him because he has an AoE attack that's annoying. You really don't need to use any of the Swords of Obedience. I picked up one near the end of the game because I thought to myself, oh, I'll just take down Cynthia with this if I need to, but Cynthia's such a nothing burger of an enemy after the subway.
Yeah, and she's only a problem in the subway because of how cramped some of those hallways become when you're in the actual, like, carriages and stuff.
And you can still dodge her just fine. I found out on the guide that, like, she has an attack with her hair that, like, can trap you in place. She never used that on me.
Wow. She used it on me a couple of times. Mainly when I was trying to get to the actual, like, control cabin. Because she's, like, right there. That's a fucking terrible move on the designer's part. Like, that's just pure unadulterated evil. Putting her
it
right
becomes
in
less
front of
annoying
it.
when you realize that the moment, like, you activate, like, the train car thing, like, the whole thing just moved. Like, the area just basically becomes reset and you're fine.
Yeah.
You can just run away from that point.
But, like, I ran up to it not knowing that was the end of the car. So, like, before, like, because I wasn't using a guide until after the subway, because that was when my frustration reached, like, its crescendo. I think for everyone is probably the same story.
Yeah. The second visit to the subway is by far the worst part of the entire game, because it's, like, right after, like, right after you get hit with the haunting, and it is just the most frustratingly designed part because it's so enclosed in and stuff. This is the part of the game I was, like, almost ready to drop.
Same. I think it's just
the only reason I kept going is because we planned we were going to do this episode to talk about it.
Yeah. I thought this was the only way I could actually get you to finish the game at this point.
You were right.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't have that, I would have dropped it. I would not have finished this game. It was a fucking slog.
Yeah, it was.
To get through, like, the game on the second half especially. I wasn't feeling it after the first half, so if we weren't doing this episode, I would have just gone to the second subway visit. Maybe tried to finish it and just go, done.
Yeah.
No more.
I distinctly remember, like, when I started it, I really wasn't feeling it. I was like, okay, there's some good ideas, but even here, I'm not jiving with it. And, like, you kind of picked it up maybe, like, a day or two after me and played through some of the same areas, and you were like, oh, it's not bad, it's fine, like, I'm not hating it. And by that point, like, I really was sinking into it. I genuinely think I might, like, dislike this game at the very least. And it just snowballed into, like, I genuinely hate the game at this point.
I think it's really funny because, for extra context, I don't think we've actually stated it. We on our Discord server that we used to, like, talk to each other, like, I definitely like to talk about, like, my experience throughout a game as almost like a diary entry to sort of to sort of, like, log it's my way of logging my experience at this point. I'm sorry, you're basically the guinea pig for that, my guy. But I looked over it a little again just before we started recording, like, this episode, and you can see when I'm like, oh, I'm not hating the game, it's fine, it's not as great as the last three, but it's fine. And then, like, by, like, halfway through the next session, when I'm in the second subway world, I go quiet for, like, half an hour, and then I send a clip of Orocrony from Hololive English, what a shout out, by the way, of her just saying, I think I'm gonna kill myself. I think I'm gonna kill myself. I think I'm gonna kill myself. And then right after that, I'm screaming, Eileen, follow me. Get past the ghost. I hate this game so much.
And because you were playing it, because I was playing it first, I really wanted to keep most of my thoughts to myself, because I never want to, like, color someone's experience before they get to it. So I had to do all of that silently. I had to just, Fucking take it in stride while
Grit
playing
your
the
fucking
game.
teeth, my guy. I'm so sorry. Just in general, I'm so sorry. It's not my fault, but someone needs to say sorry to you.
This is... Oh, this is an awful game. And the fact that, like, until Silent Hill 2 Remake came out, was just downhill from here is...
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's a terrifying prospect.
Oh my god, I'm... I don't like this game. I don't like this game. Just thinking about it breaks my brain. I'm not sure if you've gotten that, dear listener, at this point, but like... The fact that this was the last Team Silent game, and I know it has its fans, because I go on the subreddit for Silent Hill, and there's like pretty regularly there's a post that's like, I really like Silent Hill 4. I think it's like the best in the series. I like it so much, and I what it did, and I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
Well, I'm now just like, why? Because none of it just works for me. And if you're listening to this and this is your favorite game in the series, that's fine. That's cool. More power to you. That's so awesome that you loved what I hated. But I have to state that this, out of all the survival horror games I've played so far, this is by far the worst.
Oh, 100%. This is close to possibly one of the worst games I've ever played.
Okay, hold on. Maybe not Resident Evil 6 bad. Maybe.
I think I actually enjoyed playing Resident Evil 6 more than this.
I'm trying to like compare the two in my brain right now, and like Resident Evil 6 was long.
Yeah.
Was a big problem, and it was a slog in some places, but then again, I didn't feel like I was weighed down throughout all of the game, really. I just felt like I was dealing with a generic third-person shooter with a shaky camera that made me want to vomit.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if... I'm trying to debate in my mind whether that's better or worse, actually. Maybe this is the worst survival horror game I've ever played, actually. Yeah.
Because I would play Resident Evil 6 over playing Silent Hill 4 The Room.
Yeah. Like, I took like about a month break like in between my playthrough of 6 just to like build myself up, but I did still feel a drive to finish the game without any outside influence, whereas again, if we weren't doing this episode and we hadn't already agreed to do this episode before I'd finished it, I would have dropped the game and I would have felt no guilt over that. This is the first game in a very, very, very long time that I've chosen to play and hated completing.
Yeah. I am very stubborn, and it takes a lot for me to drop games, even if I don't like them. The only time I've really dropped a game out of pure, like, I don't like this was Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Because I genuinely think I would have broke something if I kept playing it. By the way. Yeah. Silent Hill 4, I think I would have dropped it out of pure frustration if I didn't pick up the guide and see how simple the second half would become, and also then thought, we could discuss this for the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting a beefy episode out of this.
We are. Like, we're already, like, an hour and 10 minutes in here. So...
How much of it is coherent, we'll find out after we finish recording, but, like... yeah, again... I've never played a game in the last few years, especially a survival horror game, a genre that I've come to love so much, and that I genuinely I was genuinely at the point where, like, I wanted to delete the game off my PC. I wanted to burn it. I wanted to have no memory of this game ever again, and I know for a fact I will not be going back to this game for a very long time, if ever.
Same.
If I'm going back to this game, I will watch someone else play it.
Yeah.
I will not play it.
Yeah. The only thing I could ever see that pushes me back to this game is if I, like, were doing something like this for it again. Like, there was a content reason to be playing it.
If you were like a streamer and you were doing it for like a charity stream or
Yeah.
whatever, that's a good reason to do it. But you know, any other reason, no. Like, to give a confession here, like, when we originally said we were gonna do like this episode and like talk about it, I did plan to like beat the game not so close to recording.
Yeah.
But like, not just for like non-bullshit reasons as well, because I was busy like the weekend before this. I had like important events to go to, but also just the fact that like I had like basically a whole day yesterday before recording that I could have like played more and finished it, but I just fucking couldn't.
Yeah.
Because I can't stand playing the game for more than like a few hours.
Mm-hmm.
And even just today, this morning, when I knew I had to finish the game and I was not that far from finishing the game, there was still a little bit of a struggle within me to like turn on the PC and go, no.
Yeah.
I was actively almost holding my hand to be like, just turn it on. Just turn it on. And you could argue this arguably makes it the scariest game in the series for me, because I was dreading going back into it. But I need to stress, it wasn't out of fear. Nothing in the game scared me other than maybe the first appearance of the ghost that made me get a little creeped out. I just hate the game.
Yeah.
I just hate the game so fucking much.
Yeah. I had long breaks in playing it where it was like genuinely like a struggle to want to go back to it. I went and seen the new Demon Slayer movie last week when it came out in cinemas here in the UK, and I came home. I spent like a good chunk of the day just in Edinburgh fucking around, and like I was coming home and I'm on the train and then I'm on the bus and I'm like, I told myself I would finish Silent Hill 4 when I get home. And I
was coming back. Sorry, you go. You finish your story.
I was just going to say, I genuinely wasn't sure if I could face that prospect. I did it, but oh my god, I didn't know if I could.
Yeah, same. I was coming back from the wedding I went to over the weekend, like, I just in the car coming back, like, all I could think to myself was, I have to play Silent Hill 4 again at some point after this, and I really don't fucking want to. And like, I remember I messaged you when I got home, and I was like, I'm so fucking exhausted. I genuinely don't think I can beat the game today. And you had to like, very graciously, you said we could just like delay the time of recording tomorrow so I could give you time to like beat it tomorrow. And like, after I had made some progress, just some progress that day, just to push myself. And I was still a little bit like, I probably can, but I'm not gonna like it.
Yeah, because like my thing was like, okay, yeah, sure, if you like don't want to play it that day at all, fair. You then proceeded to get so close to the end that I was like,
because if I didn't do that and I tried to play it again today, I wouldn't have beaten it.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. And I was like, and you were like, I was thinking when I read like where you were, because I was working, so I'm like reading these on my watch and I'm working, and like I see the stuff coming through, and then I see you like finish, and I'm like, oh, you're like so close to the end, and I'm like, man, if we like reschedule recording this episode to another day, and we record tomorrow, and you beat the game after we record, I was like, okay, hold on. You then said, I will probably be able to beat the game after we record tomorrow, and I was like, okay, we're just pushing back the recording time until you've beaten the game then.
You see, the thing is, I also said that, and admittedly this is a dumb part of my brain as well. When we make a deadline for something like this, or if I see any deadline, my brain locks that shit in, and it feels almost impossible to like shift that. So I didn't even think of you just going, why don't we just move the recording time on the day till after you beat it?
Yeah, because, like, especially where we're at right now in terms of scheduling and recording stuff is, like, we're
Yeah,
kind
I
of
knew we were pushing it
pressed
already.
for certain dates and times and stuff. And so, like, I was like, okay, probably can't really reschedule everything. And,
Yeah.
like, if you had the whole, like, most of the second half left to beat, then, like, yeah, I would have been happy to do this, like, Thursday or something like that. But then you, like, proceeded to do, like, almost most of the second half, so I was like, okay, we can
Honestly,
just shift the time a little bit.
and honestly, that was just because I felt bad about saying, oh, I can't do it today, even though I was exhausted, and I was genuinely, like, a little sick yesterday as well, so I was putting myself through a grinder just to, like, play through that game.
Damn.
For that day, but, like, I felt so bad about just, like, having to reframe the schedule even slightly that, like, I forced myself to get through the little bit of progress. So, and I want to state, I'm very glad we're recording this now. I'm very glad I did play the game and beat it, but this does mean that this recording session and the prep up to it has kind of been the most stressed I've ever been going in, like, before a recording session.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think I've ever been, like, properly stressed out by a recording session. And thankfully I beat the game like a week ago, so I'm not that stressed about it
Lucky
now.
you.
Yeah. God, I hate this game so much. What did you score?
Yeah, and again, I wasn't stressed out of fear. I was stressed out of just pure fucking hatred of playing this game.
What did you give a score? I can't remember if you did. Like, when we were talking about it.
Oh, I didn't give a score. No, and I'm
Okay.
trying to think of just what score I would put it. Your score was, when you told me earlier, you said it was like a 4 out of 10?
It was a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, okay, so I might just give it a 3 out of 10.
Because I think it's genuinely the worst game I've ever played that isn't a technical mess. Like,
Yeah.
I can't complain about anything in terms of the game's actual, like, base game.
Yeah, on a coding level,
Yeah.
it's playable.
It came out,
level,
it isn't broken, it's functional.
Yeah, there's no game-breaking bugs or glitches that I was aware of. You could maybe state that the PC version was a bit fucked because half the hauntings just didn't exist for some reason.
Which, now having played it, I wish they never fucking fixed. I genuinely just wish they had left that as is after having played it. Oh my god.
You had 3 hauntings at once at one point, you said?
Yeah, I had the TV, I had the one above the ottoman, the storage box, and the shoes in the kitchen.
Oh man, and that's not even like hauntings that you could just use one candle for.
No, the TV and storage.
At least 2 at least.
Yeah, because the TV and storage box, you can just put it in the middle of those and it'll catch both of them. But I had to use one separately for the shoes.
Was the storage box one the doll?
Yeah, I picked it up in the apartments, not realizing it would do that because I wasn't using a guide in the first half, and so I seen it and Walter says, you know, oh, this is Eileen's or Miss whatever her second name is, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I can give it to her in the second half of the game and it'll do something. And then, like, I put it in the item box and I got to the second half of the game and I'm like, oh, what do I do with this now? And I was like, okay, I guess I'll look it up, and it's like, oh, it literally only causes a haunting, and I was like, oh god damn it, why did I do that?
I'd like to thank again Silent Hill Memories Guy for letting me foresee that and making me to allowing me to not pick up the doll.
Yeah, lucky you.
Yeah. Okay, so my bottom line for the game, to finally try and finish off this clusterfuck of an episode, being real, like, if you're a Silent Hill fan, try it.
Yeah.
It's worth a try. Maybe it'll click with you. If it does, I'd be so fucking happy for you.
I would have a lot of questions about you, but yeah.
Yeah, but you know, that's fine. Different opinions. There are a group of fans that like this game, so you won't be alone.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not a Silent Hill fan, or you like survival horror, but again, you're not specifically a Silent Hill fan, don't fucking bother.
Yeah.
Just play the first 3
Yeah.
games, skip this one, and I don't know, pick a Western developed game after this you think might interest you, because fun fact, I have played Shattered Memories. And that one's kind of mid overall, but it has, very similar to 4, it has very cool concepts that I will say at least executes it better there than this. So I think Shattered Memories actually does beat this game.
Wow.
For me. And I played the PS2 version, which is not the ideal version of that game.
Because Shattered Memories was the Wii game originally, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was the Wii game reimagining of the first game. I won't say remake, because it takes basically the characters of Silent Hill 1, but it's a completely different world, it's a completely different lore, and it's completely different in the actual plot.
Right.
Other than, like, the very basic setup, and even then, yeah. I'd say try it out, but, you know, you don't have to.
I'll get to it at some point, but, you know, Silent Hill F comes out in, like, less than 3 hours, so...
Please play Silent Hill F first, because I hear, from what we're hearing right now, it is good.
Yeah.
I can't wait to play another good Silent Hill game.
Same.
I'm almost tempted to play Silent Hill 2 Remake again, just to, like, palate cleanse whatever the fuck 4 was.
Oh, God.
Instead of Silent Hill 4, either play a good Silent Hill game or play Resident Evil 4, which came out around the same time and is by far the better game, with a far better escort system. And I can't believe I'm saying that I'm saying that about 2005 Ashley Graham.
I really hope Konami catches up with Capcom and makes the rest of the Silent Hill franchise, like, easily accessible, because you can play all of Resident Evil and pretty much, like, you can play all of Resident Evil on PlayStation and now PC as well.
On some sort of modern device, and that's great, because even, like, last time we talked about Resident Evil, I don't think that had happened yet.
No, when
maybe
we
the
did
golf
our...
versions had come out.
Yeah, like, when we did our big, like, episode talking about, like, all of the mainline entries at that point, the PlayStation versions hadn't dropped. There was, I think the GOG ones were out or coming out. Like, I think maybe 1 or 2 had come out at that point, and 1, 2, or 3 were yet to come out.
But even then, that was sort of niche on, like, the PC side. Like, console players were still fucked, but now they're on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Which is great. Go play them.
Yeah.
They're amazing games.
And Dino Crisis has joined both the PlayStation and PC side of things.
We both still need to get to.
We've both got to the exact same point and just not gone back to it, as the hilarious part.
I know both of us will probably get back to it at some point. We're just not quite in the vibe yet.
Yeah, like, doing the whole big, like, Resident Evil marathon and, like, going through that vibe, like, you kind of want to take a big break from it. And, like, Dino Crisis is literally just Resident Evil with dinosaurs. So, you know.
It's great, but, you know, you can take a break.
You can take a break. But yeah, this episode is now approaching an hour and a half. So, I think it's time to wrap up, because this game did not deserve this amount of time discussing it.
Oh, God. I think we talked about this game more than Silent Hill 2.
We did.
In that big episode, and that feels like a fucking disgrace.
Yeah, because the Silent Hill episode covering 1, 2, and 3 was 2 and a bit hours?
No, I think it was like an hour and 40 minutes.
I think it was close to 2 hours. But who knows?
1 hour, 43 minutes.
Wow, I could have sworn it was like 2 hours. I know the Resident Evil video is like 2 hours long, because that's you know, what, 8 or 9 games, because like we also talked about Code Veronica and we ranked them. Damn.
That's 2 hours and 5 minutes for the Resident Evil episode.
Wow, that's crazy. I can't believe we've got an entire episode just on Silent Hill 4 that's only 20 minutes shorter than our video talking about the first 3 games. That's insane.
I think on some level that really shows how much we really didn't like this game.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Just before we do wrap up, though, I very, very quickly, you have played Silent Hill 2 Remake. in
Yes, I
between those
have.
episodes.
Uh,
Very quick thoughts.
I mean, it's another masterpiece. Like, it is Silent Hill 2 reimagined and expanded to like a really good degree. It's not like, you know, other arts remakes where like maybe the art style's not as good, or, you know, something's lost between the original to like a modern reinterpretation
Yeah.
of it. That happens so much with remakes or remasters. You know, we just need to look at fucking Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary.
Do we want to spend another hour
No,
talking about Halo's art style?
no, no,
Because
no.
we could.
It's a good touch point of like how that can happen. Um, it is an incredible game. If you have a console and a PC, even if it seems like everything in your body is calling you to buy that PC version because you know your PC is more powerful than your video game console, I highly encourage you to pick up that console version because, oh my god, the fucking PC version is a mess on a technical level, and it is so it's such a good game, but it's fucking Russian roulette on whether it's gonna
Yeah.
run properly or not.
I sat down and like in a Discord call and watched you for like one playthrough of Silent Hill
Yeah.
2 remake because of course we played it multiple times. We couldn't help ourselves.
Yeah.
Gotta get all those endings. But I saw firsthand that the PC version just through like your playthrough was such a Russian roulette because sometimes it slowed down to a chug.
Yep.
And sometimes it was just fine.
Yeah. I would have to like use the keyboard shortcut to refresh my graphics drivers sometimes to just get it like running properly again. And that's crazy. No one needs to do that like at all ever now. Like, you need to have some actual tangible issue happening on your screens or something to have to know and use that shortcut. I would have to restart the PC just to like it run better for 20 minutes or something when we were in the call, just for it to chug down again. But then I played it like, what was it, the next day by myself. I finished our playthrough when you
were for
a full day. I got all the rest of the achievements, endings, found all the notes and stuff. I had a guide for that, but like I was wanting to like get all of the achievements, 100% the game essentially. And I started it, and I didn't need to do anything the whole day. The performance was fine. I didn't need to quit the game. I didn't need to restart my PC. I didn't need to do anything. But like every time I played it, even by myself for my initial playthrough, I would sometimes just before starting playing it have to restart the PC just in case it wouldn't be functioning properly, which is insane.
It is. That's mad. Like, is that just an Unreal Engine 5 thing?
I don't know, but like I can say that it's something at least partially specifically to do with Silent Hill 2, because people are probably listening to this and going, oh, well, what about the settings? Shaun can attest to this. He was there watching me play it, that I changed settings multiple times. I took them down to the lowest they could go, and it did not change a fucking thing if it wasn't running correctly.
Like, I'm a witness.
Yeah.
I can tell you right there, that didn't do shit.
Yeah. So...
But like, meanwhile, over here, me on my pristine PS5 version encountered none of that, and only maybe the occasional slight hitch when it came to like the fog and like transitions like that. But even then, it was barely noticeable.
Yeah.
So console version, perfectly fine. Probably get that version unless, I don't know, you really want mods and think this is all worth it for those.
Yeah, like if you want
Super
the
Maria mods.
minuscule difference that ray tracing makes to the experience, like maybe get the PC version.
You can do without.
You can do without. It doesn't make that much of a noticeable difference. It's not like the Resident Evil games where like turning ray tracing on for those is like fucking revolutionary to the visual experience. They're not it's not designed like that.
Revolutionary. That doesn't work.
No. Luckily, I'm hearing good things about the technical performance of F though, so fingers crossed.
So, tune in next time we talk about Silent Hill, which will hopefully be about that.
Yes, yeah.
Or, I don't know, maybe, God forbid, some of the Western developed games.
No, it'll probably be F. Probably be F next.
Yeah, probably F, but like, I do want to try Origins as like a next up after F, because that the concept interests me, even if I have heard that it kind of does conflict with the lore in one.
Yeah.
In dumb ways, so I'm not expecting it to be great, but you know, it's interesting enough for me to try.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to try Homecoming at any point or Downpour.
Homecoming is like the only other one on PC, isn't it? Or like readily available, because I think that's the only one on other one on Steam.
That's an injustice. that ain't right.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's the end of this episode, because we've covered the game extensively at this point. Too much. We talked about Silent Hill 2 Remake, because I did finally play that. That was a fun, like,
just somewhat balance out the scales a little.
Yeah. So yeah, we will see you guys next week. I don't know where this is coming out in the schedule, so I don't know what's coming next.
You will find out.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.